how do they start? What are some of the basic things that they should know? And what are these misconceptions that we need to address so that if they even agree to go into entrepreneurship, I mean, it's not like they have much of a choice at this point, they would know what to do in order to survive. A few weeks ago, we had this young man on the show to talk about how to survive in your own business in the first 2 years. He's back again, and he will be taking us through the process of managing the misconceptions of starting a business or building a business. He's the CEO of Boabing Communications. Jeremiah Boabing is in the studios with us. Good morning. How are you doing?
Brother. I'm very well.
Everything okay?
Okay.
All right. So the last time, like I mentioned, we had a conversation about, maintaining a business in the first 2 years. Today we're back, and it's more about misconceptions. I'll start off with what are some of, because you are an entrepreneur as well. For you, when you were starting your business, what were some of the misconceptions that you had?
Well, so I didn't expect it to be easy.
Okay.
But then nobody told me it was going to be this difficult. Some years ago, I heard the president of Ashesi University, Patrick, was speaking. And he said that probably if he had known that it was going to be this difficult, he wouldn't have started. I didn't really understand what he said, but now I do.
What made it more difficult?
Because nobody really prepares you for the multiple punches you receive if you're an entrepreneur in the ring trying to make a business succeed. So the misconception most people have is that as soon as I start it, it's going to pick up.
Yeah.
But business is much more difficult than most people assume. I think that apart from running a country, probably the next difficult thing you can do is to start a business, run a business.
Wow.
Yes.
Are you not scaring people who are watching now and might want to go into entrepreneurship?
Because I feel I wasn't prepared for the journey I'm on. I try to be honest with people, and I tell people how difficult it is. And like you say, they interpret it as you are scaring us.
Yeah.
But I'm not scaring you. I am preparing you. Because I believe that I agree with the finance minister. And the truth is, what he said is true. Just that we don't like the fact that it was a politician who said it.
Okay.
But what he said is true. A lot of us should go into entrepreneurship. So let's do a quick analysis. If there are 1 million unemployed graduates in Ghana, and 10% of them decide to start a business, that is 100,000 people who have been taken out of the unemployment trap.
Okay.
Now, if that 10%, if the 100,000, if each of them is able to survive and build a business that's able to employ 10 people, then 10 times 100,000, we have created 1 million jobs.
But there is a research that indicates that, unfortunately, especially for Africa, young entrepreneurs are not able to build their business to that point where they can even hire other people. So if we're thinking that that solves the unemployment problem, it doesn't necessarily address it.
Exactly. Nothing is direct. So, for instance, somebody will say that if you become a journalist, you'll be famous. But you know that in your industry, not everybody in your industry is famous. So what must happen? Now, I have realized that most people think that the biggest challenge to doing business is capital. I disagree. The biggest challenge to doing business is not knowing how to do business.
Rather.
Yes.
But even if you know and you don't have the capital.
So I'll get there. Not knowing how to do business, not having the expertise on how to run a business will be the biggest thing that will confront you. That's what will prevent you from making money. That's what will make you lose money. That's what will make you lose an opportunity to make money. Because the capacity to manage a business is not taught in school. If you go to school, it will give you a little knowledge, a little information. So I don't know if you know a little about PlayStation. So if you go to school, school teaches you that PlayStation cross is for pass, triangle is for true pass, the box is for shoot, circle is for cross. Now, that is what you know. The question is, how do you combine these keys to ensure that you can actually win your match? They can score. Now, that capacity, that insight, is not taught in school. And you need to learn how to acquire it. As a matter of fact, if you don't build the insight or expertise needed to build a business, capital is a danger to you and your business.
Okay.
If you have money, a lot of money, and you don't know how to run a business, you waste the money. And that's why banks are not eager to give capital to people who have not been tested in business, because you may have an idea, but applying the idea is a different thing. But if you learn how to build a business, you learn how to generate capital. That's not to say that it is easy. But then when you learn how to build a business, You have learned how to manage people. So, for example, when I started business, one of the biggest challenges I had, the mistakes I made, was that I hired people too quickly. So, I started business first as an editor because my strength was in the English language. Then I quickly evolved into a publishing business, and I hired a graphic designer. I should have stopped there.
Okay.
And managed the business a bit. And because with myself and the graphic designer were enough to manage the cash flow coming into the business, to make the business run. But I thought that, naively, I thought that if I could hire more people, those people would come in and bring me business.
Yeah.
That was a wrong assumption because it's not guaranteed that the people that you hire will bring you business. Secondly, not knowing how to run a business prevents you from even knowing what to look out for to hire people.
Hire people, okay.
So the biggest challenge that every entrepreneur, every startup entrepreneur out there should fight is, how do I learn how to manage a business? I will propose 3 things. Maybe I could go to my...
Maybe you could at this point so that we take a look at it. And so for those of you who are watching, this is Jeremiah Boabing. He's the CEO of Boabing Communications, and he's talking to us about the misconceptions of running a business, starting a business, or building one. Jeremiah, we're ready for you.
So now let me say this. Work experience is not equal to business management experience. So, for instance...
Repeat that again. So, work experience...
Work experience, as important as it is, is not equal to business management experience. So, for instance, maybe you work in Media General. You work here. But you work from one point of the organization. You might not necessarily be in a management position where you see the organization from a broader perspective. So, it's possible to have worked before. It's possible to have worked before and still not know how to run a business. So whether you have worked before or you've not worked before, it's really...
Pardon us, I mean, carry on.
It's really not a strength. So how does a person who is new to business management learn how to build business expertise? 1.
Ask questions.
Now, if you are new to business, you have to ask questions. And you have to find the entrepreneurs who are more advanced in their journey, who understand the arena of business, who understand your industry more than you do. Go to them and ask questions.
Are they open to answering these questions? That's also the other challenge.
There are a lot of people who love people who are willing to do that. Yesterday, on Saturday, I spent about 5 hours with a top CEO in Ghana, asking questions stretching from capital to HR to operations to admin. So there are a lot of good people out there. Just package yourself well and build a relationship and ask questions. So there are entrepreneurs that you can ask questions from. And then you can also talk to people in functional areas. So somebody may be, say, a marketing manager in a business. You can talk to them about how to build your marketing infrastructure. Someone may be, say, a sales manager. You can ask them questions. My entire capacity in sales management as an entrepreneur, I learned by asking questions. And guess what? I actually went to somebody I consider a mentee, who was my mentee, who had joined a company as a salesperson and had fallen in love with the job and was doing so well at it. So I started going to him and asking questions. I'll pick a phone, I'll call him, I'll ask questions, he'll answer, I'll write it down. I will write a lot of notes from the questions. Sometimes I'll meet with him in person and I'll ask him questions and I'm recording. And I'll play the recording over and over and over and over again. So talk to people in functional areas. Somebody in HR, somebody in sales, somebody in marketing, somebody in operations, and ask them questions. What you don't know can kill your business. So you need to bridge that gap. Then the third group of people that you can ask questions from are consultants. Consultants are usually better than the first two because they specialize in giving advice. So they have tools, skill sets, methodologies that they can give you, and they don't just tell you what to do. They show you how to do it, and sometimes they even do it with you. These are of course, they are paid. So if you're going to work with a consultant, you got to pay the person.
But I don't even have money to start my business. How am I going to get money to pay a consultant?
So at least start from the first two. So one of the capitals that we don't talk about a lot in business is social capital. The quality of people an entrepreneur knows is as important as how much money he has in his bank account. So you want to build a relationship with people who are in places where you can ask them valuable questions to move your business forward. So the next thing will be to read. I mean, you can't say that you want to start a business, you want to be an entrepreneur. You've never read an article on business. You don't have books on business. You don't read articles on entrepreneurship. Now, if you don't have insight or skill, you can compensate for it with knowledge. So when you read a lot of articles, go to entrepreneur.com, go to Harvard Business Review, follow the person everybody must follow. If you want to do business, the person you must follow on Facebook is Strive Masiyiwa. Strive Masiyiwa has hundreds of great articles on business, branding, innovation, marketing, technology, digital marketing, so many crazy stuff that you really need to get.
Can you just spell the person's name up there
Strive
somewhere?
Masiyiwa.
Okay.
So Strive Masiyiwa is a founder of Equinet.
Masiyiwa. Okay.
As a founder of Equinet, I mean, he's a big-time entrepreneur. I mean, he's the one who was behind Kwesi, which came to Ghana.
Yeah.
So Strive Masiyiwa, read as much as you can. Buy books and read. Buy Kunya here on entrepreneurship. It's a really good book for entrepreneurs. Albert Okran's Building Your Dream Business is a good stuff. It's good stuff. So read as much as you can. When you read, it might not necessarily give you all the answers you're looking for, but it will give you building blocks that you can start building with.
Okay.
But ultimately, all these two things and your experiences as an entrepreneur must lead to the third thing. You must develop your own thinking capacity. What do I mean by that? Now, if you ask most entrepreneurs, what's the most important equipment in your business? They would probably say, a chef will say, my kitchen. A printer will say, my 4-color machine. Maybe somebody in signage will say, my CNC cutting machine.
Yeah.
But really, the most important machine in any business is the flesh between your two ears as an entrepreneur. It's your brain. If you're able to develop your brain power, your mind power so well, you do well as an entrepreneur. How do you do this? One, you must become a good observer.
Okay.
If over the past 2 years, you have hired salespeople and they have behaved in a certain way, you must start observing that, this is a pattern. And then you must start asking questions. Ask yourself deep, hard questions.
Okay.
The reason the questions must be deep and hard is because if you come to the wrong conclusion about a problem, it means that all the time and money that you're going to spend solving that problem is wasted.
It's wasted, yeah.
So it's like going to see a doctor. Doctor says that, what you're going through is a headache. So they're going to give you paracetamol or something, or a painkiller or something. Then the chance that it's not headache, it's sleep that you need. So it means that everything that was spent on a headache was a waste of time.
It's waste, yeah.
So the same way, the entrepreneur must develop his mind power, know how to observe, know how to ask questions, know how to think, know how to plan. A lot of the skill set that you need to make a business work, you will not be taught in school. So you must teach yourself stuff, and you must pay attention. So for instance, I like a simple thing by just watching football.
Okay.
You know, when you watch football, they will say, this striker, he has scored 10 goals from 50 shots, 30% conversion rate, 500 passes. Football. Excuse me, but football is play, it's entertainment. So if football can have such statistics and data, you who is running a business, where's your data? You've run a business for 3 years, 5 years. What is your average monthly revenue? Do you know? Do you know which product brings you the most revenue?
Okay.
Do you know which of your employees generates the most revenue? That is data that every business must gather.
Okay.
Because you need data to make decisions. If you decide that you are going to, for example, if someone says, I'm going to give you 50,000 cedis today, how are you going to invest it? If you don't have data, you invest it wrongly. So for instance, maybe you print shirts, you print books, maybe you do souvenirs. And I'm giving you 50,000 cedis. Which of your products will you invest that money into? If you have data that shows you that your demand for books is more than your demand for shirts and souvenirs, you put in the money into books. So every entrepreneur out there must gather data. Every money you receive, you write it down. Every money you spend, you write it down. So if you've been running a business since 2015, you're able to say that every year, this is how much I've made. Okay. All of these things will guide your journey in business.
I see. I mean, all this, do you do the asking of questions and the reading, do you do that before you start the business proper, or is
Before,
it during?
after, during.
During.
It's a never-ending process. But a lot of thinking must go into stuff before you start. If you ask the right questions, you start well.
Okay.
Other than it's like somebody who has no experience in building a house and is going to build their first house. If you do due diligence and you ask the right questions, you don't waste a lot of money.
True.
But if you just jump into and say, I'll build my own house, and you don't consult anybody, you waste a lot of money.
And that's where the problem is.
Yep.
Now, there's some data, and the Deputy Finance Minister has been speaking to this data. Now, it says that over 70% of startups are failing in Ghana. But Honorable John Kumar, who is the Deputy Finance Minister, says it is not shocking, because if you check the global trends, it's quite similar. What do you think could be the reason why we're experiencing it? Is it because we're not doing all these things, or is it something else?
Well, you see, in Ghana, we'll be deceiving ourselves if we just compare ourselves to global trends and say that's why people are not doing well. Let's face it, our system does not encourage entrepreneurship.
In what way?
Many ways. For instance, there are regulatory institutions that are supposed to guide the starting of businesses and help businesses honor certain obligations to government. Ghana Revenue Authority, Senate. All of these people, when they come into your business, they won't say, oh, you're a young man in your 30s and you have built a business employing 10 people. This is how we think we should go about it. When they come into your business, they come like an attack. So they don't come in a spirit of encouragement. They don't recognize the fact that what you're doing is solving a lot of problems. They come in a spirit of in an attack. So even that alone is discouraging. Then the other side to it, there's not enough infrastructure. We have not been deliberate about building a system that encourages people and guides people to set up a business. So how many institutions are out there that a person can go to and say, I'm starting a business today, please, how can I start? Of course, government is doing something. The MBSSI, which is now the Ghana Enterprise Agency, is doing something, but it is not enough. So we can build, if we are really serious, trust me, the solution to unemployment is not government. Government cannot solve unemployment.
Okay.
The solution to unemployment is the growth of private sector. But we keep saying the growth of private sector, the growth of private sector, and we are not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
What kind of systematic plan are you putting in place to say that, look, every year this country must produce 100,000 young entrepreneurs? What are we doing? So we need to build a better system. If you give birth to a child and you give the child all the resources that they need to succeed, and then they fail, then you can say that this is why they have failed.
This is why, yeah.
But if they need resources and you don't give it to them, and you don't encourage them, you don't support them, please, you don't have much to say.
I don't know what you say about this, but I hope you're learning a lot from Jeremiah Boabing this morning with regards to what you need to do in order to grow your business. And so he says that, but you see, the other thing, not everybody can be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And so if we're saying that young people should go into it, they're saying that, but what if I wasn't born to be? The fact that you may succeed doesn't mean I will succeed. And if we all start businesses, who's going to work for who?
I can speak to that. So I agree. First of all, not everyone is made to be an entrepreneur. And not everyone should become an entrepreneur, because good enterprises need good employees to succeed. So if all of us become entrepreneurs, then who work for who? I mean, that logic is the first logic.
Valid, okay.
The second logic is that not everybody was made to be an entrepreneur. In my opinion, I think that there are 3 factors that will determine whether somebody can succeed in entrepreneurship or not.
Okay.
The first, and I think that is the most important, is drive.
Okay.
Do you have enough desire, hunger, determination to succeed? Not everybody is driven. Not everybody has a fire. If I tell you some of the things that I've gone through in the past 6.5 years of running my own businesses, most people would have given up. But some people have been wired, engineered with a certain streak that has enough fire, drive to succeed in business. Not everybody has it. Not everybody can lead for others to follow. Some people will function better following others who have taken the lead so that they can assist. Some people are good assistants, they are good vice presidents, they are good vice CEOs, so they'll follow. Then very related to drive is strength of will or strength of spirit. Because being an entrepreneur is like having about 10 jobs at the same time. So you may have a job and it may look like a very difficult, complicated job. But if you're an entrepreneur, you have several jobs, especially in your startup growth phase. Because in your startup growth phase, you will not be able to even afford maybe hiring, say, a salesperson, an accountant, an HR person. So you, the entrepreneur, you must learn all of these things.
Okay.
Now, even if you can afford it, it's imperative for you to learn it. Why? Because you cannot lead somebody in an area if you don't understand the area.
Okay.
So, and not everybody has the strength of spirit to be able to do all of these things.
Okay.
And then the final thing is a lack of security. If you get a job today, you get paid a salary immediately. If you start a business, there is no guarantee.
There's no guarantee, exactly.
And a lot of people are not comfortable with that. That's why even in sales, some salespeople don't like commission-based jobs because really there's no guarantee the month ends.
Absolutely. And I wish we could go on. Unfortunately, we have to end here. We've given you enough for the day, and I believe that Jeremiah will be back with some more on this particular topic and many topics relating to entrepreneurs in the country. Thank you so much for speaking to us on the misconceptions about starting a business and building a business. Remember to go Google Strive Masiwa and read the articles that this publisher has put out so you can learn a bit more about how to run your business. We're very grateful for your time.